Hello everyone, it's Theme Park Avenue, I'm Eric, and today I'm ranking every roller coaster at Six Flags Great America. Except, not great. Before we begin this ranking, subscribe to the channel so you know when new theme park content comes out. We have tons of rankings, but also other park reviews and other content both serious and funny. Now, one thing I must get out of the way, I did not ride Roar when I went to the park, so that's going to be an honorable mention. I was considering not doing this ranking because Roar was closed when I went to the park. However, people wanted to see this instead of a top 10 rides at Six Flags America video, so we'll be ranking the rest of them. Let's begin. Number 8 is the Great Chase. Kiddie coaster, not one I really know much about because it's just kind of small for kids. I've done similar ones and they can be bumpy. And it's not a bad ride, I guess, but definitely not one that's gonna wow anybody. Number 7 is Mind Eraser. Vekoma SLCs are just not good rides normally, due to the fact that they can be quite painful. The layouts are solid, and I do enjoy some parts of some of these, such as the turn, and maybe the final 2 inversions aren't that bad, but it's a very rough, bumpy SLC. And though it's not the worst of them, it's definitely not the best of them. Number 6 is Firebird. This B&M is shockingly bad. There really isn't any redeeming quality about it besides maybe the paint job, but if the color of your track is the best thing about your ride, you messed up. This is the first B&M, so I guess it's just getting a little hard to preserve, but it does not work as a floorless coaster, the layout is not good, the intensity is not enjoyable, the inversions are not really anything spectacular, and it's a rough ride. There is one worse B&M out there, but this is definitely not a ride that's worth going on if it's anything but a walk-on and you just want the credit going to this park. Number 5, now for the good stuff, Ragin Cajun. This is definitely the scariest ride in the park, that is no question. This thing is ridiculous in how much it spins. Maybe it's because of the configuration of the car when I was in it, but you spin a lot. That can be a little painful, like you will kind of fly into the side of the car quite a bit, but I don't think it is that bad. The opening hairpin turns are not great, but once the ride starts spinning and you get airtime and it's a little janky, it's not a smooth, super perfect fun ride, but it's a blast because of how crazy and disorienting it is. And honestly, I want to go back to Six Flags Discovery Kingdom to ride the Sidewinder Safari, assuming it's like this one. Ragin Cajun is a very strong number 5 for the park, and definitely a significant improvement over the other rides mentioned so far. Now for the top 4. The top 4 here is really great, and it's pretty much the main thing to go to this park for, over basically any other aspect of it. For me, number 4 is the Wild One. This 100-year-old wooden coaster, over 100 in fact, is still pretty smooth. It's not perfect in that regard, there are definitely janky moments, but it's not one that takes away from the ride too much. The airtime is quite strong at quite a few points, and I feel the final helix is shockingly intense. So as far as wooden coasters go, it's definitely among the better ones. It's a great ride overall, and though I can understand why some would have it at number 1, there are 3 steel coasters, 3 DC steel coasters in fact, that I did prefer and would call better rides in the park. Number 3 is Joker's Jinx. This Premier Rides launch coaster, a Spaghetti Bowl model specifically, is very fun, but drastically different from the others for whatever reason. The first half you go through quite slowly, but it means good hang time and disorienting elements. However, at a certain point the ride really picks up speed and gets ridiculously intense, and it feels kind of like a mechanical bull on max settings. Not sure how many would understand what that feels like, but it is just a very rowdy ride at a certain point. It is smooth, which is nice, so that you're not going to be bothered by anything during the whole ride. And the only thing that's not great about the ride is the launch. That launch definitely does not have a lot of power to it, and a lot of rides at launch can be the highlight, but for this one it's definitely not. That said, I love the layout and I love the ride. Definitely a great ride overall, and there's a good reason why some in my party think it is the best roller coaster at Six Flags America. Number 2 is Superman Ride of Steel. This one, as far as hypercoasters go, is not the best. It is good, but not great per se. Still pretty great though, just not comparable to some of the B&M Hypers and other Intamins as well. The highlights are the first drop and the airtime moments. You really do get thrown out of your seat. Unfortunately, the restraints are not the most comfortable, and you will hit your legs pretty hard on some of the airtime moments. I'd argue they are worse than New England's Superman Hypercoaster that people complain about a lot more. This ride has a very good sense of speed, even better than Superman the Ride actually. But unfortunately, it's not the smoothest of hypercoasters. I would say it's probably the roughest hypercoaster I've been on actually, and that does take away a little bit from enjoyability. And I'm not sure why, but compared to Darien Lake, the straight sections feel way longer, and that does somewhat muddle the pacing. So the biggest thing is fine-tuning to the layout and better restraints could make this easily the best in the park and a top-tier hypercoaster. It's really almost there. But minor flaws do hold it back a little, so it's not the number 1 of the park for me. Number 1 is definitely Batwing. Batwing is one I think some do not enjoy, and I don't know how that's possible personally, unless maybe it's a little too much. In which case I understand, because this ride is crazy. Very intense, especially the vertical loop, and the helix at the end is shocking in its power and how close you get to the ground. I love all flying coasters except Nighthawk, and this one is not the best, but I think it's a great ride. You have a lot of good inversions, some interesting interaction with terrain. I know it's just a flat piece of land, but because of how close you get to the ground, it's quite scary. And it's a long ride, a smooth ride, and there wasn't really anything I disliked apart from facing the sun during the main lift hill part. Other than that, it's definitely a smooth, enjoyable, fun ride, and easily my favorite at Six Flags America. Thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed this video. Comment down below your favorite roller coasters at this park if you've been. Subscribe for more theme park content. I'll see you next time.